everyone. Welcome to the Board of Trustees meeting, May 9th, 2017, around 5:30. Mr. Burning, the roll call, please.
Yes, Ms. McFarland?
Present.
Mr. Harnwell?
Present.
Mr. Bernie?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
All right, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Okay, can we look to approve the minutes of the regular session on April 11th and the work session on April 25th, 2017? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Mr. Burning, if we could have a financial report?
Yes, let me catch up here. You're going pretty quick here. I do have to take notes. Okay, for the month ending April 30th, 2017, the township's expenditures were $1,877,161.38, and receipts were $6,703,802.72. The ending cash balance of $20,172,163.15 includes obligations for expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. What I'm requesting is to approve the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, updated and current revenue reports for the period ending 4/13. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, and I just want everyone to know that our reports can be viewed at the administration offices weekdays during regular business hours or on our website anytime you desire. And that's all I have, Mr. Vernon.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. Mr. Hennenkamp, do you have a report for us this evening?
I do, Mr. Burning. The first is just kind of some old business, as the board's well aware of the last couple of meetings. I can't remember the exact meeting, but we had a resident at Seven Hills come to the meeting and bring to the attention of the board some parking concerns, traffic-related issues due to parking and the location or the actual routes of Metro bus and school bus. We've had our staff look into that. We talked about that during the work session. And at our last work session, the board did indicate a desire to move forward. Typically, the process that we go through is then we send a notice that the board will be taking that action into consideration. We did send such a notice to residents in the affected area of Seven Hills. And so really, this is just an opportunity, if there's anyone here tonight, to voice a concern over the proposed no parking areas on two different locations in the Seven Hills area. And we do have a resolution that will officially take action on this later in the meeting, but I don't know if anyone's here to address that issue.
Would anybody like to address that issue? Okay.
Okay. Really no other action items tonight, but a few discussion items. Happy to report that on May the 12th, our K-9 Paco will be receiving a national award. It was actually an award received by the North American Police Workdog Association, and Paco will be receiving the National Canine Valor of the Year Award at a ceremony that will take place, as I said, on May the 12th. That takes place in Eureka, Missouri, and Paco's handler is Officer Jim Sheeler, and we recognized Paco here, and I'm trying to think what month that actually was, but probably 6 to 8 months ago, I guess, Chief, wasn't it?
It was a little longer. I thought it was
Was it August? Wow, it's almost been a year. Holy cow.
Yeah,
Time flies. But anyway, Chief, I didn't know if there's anything you wanted to add on that. I know you will be representing, you and Assistant Chief Bly will be representing the department.
That's correct. Just a real brief on what the organization is, the NAPWADA. What that is it's an extension of police certification for the actual canine. So in addition to what his requirements are through the state of Ohio, he's also nationally certified in all of the canine work that he does. So it's a prestigious award.
So, good news, and another national award. I think that's the third in the history of the department, third national award we received. Not for canine, but we had their officer of the year and
They're
school
also
resource.
School resource officer, now canine, yeah.
Fantastic.
Wow.
The only other thing that I have is the personnel update. I did accept the resignation of Johnny Stewart as a part-time EMT firefighter effective April the 30th, and also accepted the resignation of Jerry Seifert as a part-time laborer in the Public Works Department. We did add Kevin Jump as a part-time laborer to this Public Works Department. His effective date is May the 1st, and that is a part-time position, and Taylor Bovey as a seasonal laborer, and her effective date is May the 1st. I'll turn things over to Kim. Kim, if you can bring us up to date on community events and programs.
Thank you. Our very next community event is actually tomorrow on May 10th. We have our police community conversation. I think Chief Browder was going to talk a little bit more about that.
This is a second part of the four-part series. We're going to briefly talk about training and use of force, and then we're going to have some live demonstrations. It's going to be a very, very fast-moving program. Begins at 7 o'clock at the Grove.
Our next community event will be on May 26th. We're going to have an outdoor lunchtime concert with a food truck. And then on June 9th, we are bringing in Madcap Puppets for our Puppets for Lunch event. I also just want to mention, besides all of the events that we have coming up, that the Springfield Township website new redesign will be available starting at the beginning of June.
Very good, very good.
Thanks, Kim. I know the board has copies of the department activity reports, unless there's any questions. Mr. Burning, that is all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Henkamp. Next is, we're going to do some resolutions, starting with number 42-2017, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township, and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
The second resolution is number 43-2017, authorizing private sale of unneeded and unfit for use property in the Drug Abuse Reduction Task Force Department. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 44-2017, authorizing the private sale of junk motor vehicles which were titled to the township pursuant to revised code 4513-61 and revised code 4513-62 or .62, and which are not needed or unfit for use in any township department. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 45-2017, modifying the schedule listing each street on which parking is prohibited or restricted within Springfield Township as required by section 302.2 of the Springfield Township parking regulations. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution number 46-2017, a resolution to submit the question of a renewal of the 1 mil tax levy to provide funds for the fire equipment and salaries for the Springfield Township Fire District pursuant to section 5705.191 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 47-2017, authorizing sale by internet auction of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit for use property in the fire department. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honeyland?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And the last one is resolution number 48-2017, resolution imposing a
We don't,
temporary,
Wait a minute.
it's on the next page.
No.
What are you looking for?
I have it on the next page. There it is.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Resolution number 48-2017, resolution imposing a temporary moratorium of 1 year upon the approval, issuance, and/or processing of any permits allowing the construction, installation, and/or modification to facilities pertaining to many cell towers within the right-of-ways and/or residential areas of Springfield Township, Ohio. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honeyland?
Aye.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Those are all the resolutions. Do we have any old business before the board?
I have none.
I don't have any old business.
Okay, how about new business?
On new business, I have a couple things. The one is, on August the 18th, a gentleman walked into Station 75, our fire station in the New Burlington area, and indicated he was having chest problems, or he was having some kind of physical problem. Three of our medics, Joe Gatha, Jeremy Burns, and Dan Goforth, examined and treated him, and they realized that this gentleman was having a heart attack. And Chief, I'll maybe let you go into the details, but the bottom line was they were able to quickly administer this new STEMI procedure and get him to the hospital and basically save the individual's life. Could you
Yes,
kind of go into that, Chief?
welcome the opportunity to discuss this. You are correct, on April the 18th, we did have a 56-year-old male come into the firehouse with chest pain. He was quickly evaluated and determined that he was having a serious heart attack. At that point, we connected him to our EKGs. We saw that confirmed what's called a STEMI. It's a ST elevated myocardiac infarction, at which point then we notified the hospital. They activated the catheterization team, and we sent data via our 3G modem that is part of the EKG technology that sends all of this data directly to the physician, to the lead cardiologist, and what that does is it saves time. Time, when there's a blockage in the heart, time damages the heart. So it's of extreme importance to expedite everything when you find this blockage. So with our technology, we're able to send that data. So when we transported to Mercy West Hospital, they were waiting for us at the door, and we bypassed the whole ER, went right back to the catheterization team. They did a procedure called an angioplasty. They opened the blockage, and as a result, this gentleman is alive and well today. One of the things that was brought to our attention by the American Heart Association is our goal is to do this procedure and get the patient to the hospital within 90 minutes. Get them to the cath lab within 90 minutes. This particular time was 37 minutes. And according to them, this could possibly be a record for Southwest Ohio. We're very humbled. We're proud that we've achieved that kind of milestone with that type of a minute response. But what's important is that this gentleman was saved, and technology worked in his benefit. Right place at the right time, everything worked well together, and it just shows it's team effort. You start with well-trained personnel that has access to technology, advanced technology, along with quality and well-maintained ambulances that can get you from the scene of an emergency to the hospital. And then there's collaboration with a healthcare partner, which is our hospitals in the greater Cincinnati area. And we're very fortunate they have some of the best. But it all comes down really to personnel that are using this equipment. And we have some of the best in Hamilton County. I'm very proud of these personnel. Paramedic Joe Getha, paramedic Jeremy Burns, paramedic Dan Goforth. They worked an excellent job with this gentleman. Everything worked well together, and as the end result, we were able to save him. So very proud of their accomplishments that day. Thank you.
And, you know, Joe, I was just sharing earlier, I had an opportunity when you guys were doing some training with some of the other paramedics to sit in for a few hours on that training, and I was so amazed at the new technology that we're using in our fire department and our EMTs are exposed to and experienced to. And I had an opportunity which was really profound. I was at another hospital, UC, and we were doing a survey there, and I was down in the ER with the team, and a similar situation, but not as quickly as you all did it, but a similar situation where they connected with the ambulance that was transporting the individual to UC, and they had the room set up and they had the cardiologist. Everybody was waiting, and as soon as they brought that individual in, they immediately, in one big room, they didn't have to go anywhere hardly. They took care of him and did some repair work and then got him into surgery. And it was basically in evening time, so it wasn't like it's a daytime. So, you know, the hospitals need to continue to be commended for the great work that they do and response time that they have to maintain and save lives.
Thank you.
But I'm very proud of our fire department.
Thank you. I will relay that to our personnel. Thank you.
Well, Chief, on behalf of the board, we want to say thanks to those paramedics for the excellent job they did. Really, on behalf of all the citizens of Springfield Township, we're lucky to have the kind of paramedics, the fire department that we have. We appreciate your leadership and all the people in the administration that run the kind of program you do. I mean, and this is kind of, we passed a resolution here earlier this evening to put back before the voters this November the question of renewal of a 1 mil, or it's a
1 mil.
Yeah, 1 mil operating levy for the fire department for an additional 5 years. 5 years ago, we put this thing on the ballot. We made it a 5-year levy, so it would end it. You know, it's going to end here, and we're going back to the. And we did that. That was kind of back in the recession. Things were tight. We didn't say to people, "This is forever." But the reality is, we need this in order to be able to have these kind of quality people. The big expense in all our departments, fire, police, are personnel. And, you know, we certainly have other costs, you know, but personnel's the big one. We have to attract good quality people. And I think this is just one example of where the community's investment really pays off. We have, I will say, as good or better emergency, you know, medicine in Springfield Township than really many of the communities in Southwest Ohio. So we're blessed with that. And we will ask the voters, you know, this coming November to support the fire department and, you know, ensure that we continue to have the kind of quality services we have.
Thank you. We strive to be the best. We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Any other new business?
I have, there's some new business coming up, and basically National Police Week is being celebrated and memorized next week, starting with Monday the 10th and all through the week. And the National Police Week focuses basically on those police officers who gave their lives trying to keep our community safe and keeping our individuals safe as well. And when I did some research, I looked back and it seemed like this whole initiative started in 1962 when President John Kennedy initiated this national recognition for the police officers. And when you look through the history books and you look at how many lives the police have given up, they've given their lives for so many of us so that we can be safe in our community. And the greatest loss of police lives was during 9/11. And as we all know, that was very, very profound. But our police officers practice safety, and that's their first goal. It's not, they don't run away from a situation, they run to it. And I am so proud of our Springfield Township Police, and I'm wondering, Rob, are we going to participate in any type of memorial service next week?
Yes, at the local level here, there's a very large gathering in Washington DC, obviously, and many of the other major cities. So next Friday, May the 19th, 11 o'clock, we'll kick off the ceremony here locally down in the city of Cincinnati. Fountain Square, there'll be a program, and then there's an actual parade that goes to the police memorial in front of the District 1 headquarters of Cincinnati Police Department, where there'll be another memorial ceremony there. So attracts a big crowd, and hopefully it won't rain this year.
And, and I have to think about Paco, and, we could have easily had a loss in our township if our dog that was well-trained had not jumped to get the person that was shooting at our police officer. So again, that dog just deserves all types of more than national recognition because he took bullets for him. And I don't think we realize, and I didn't realize, I've always known how important police officers were to our community, but I have had the opportunity to ride with them. And it's amazing, especially at night, late at night, when most of us are sleeping, and they're out there on call 24/7, it doesn't matter, and they have to go into dark places. And the one time I had an opportunity to ride with them, we went behind this dark place. You couldn't see a thing, and it was kind of weird, but I wasn't afraid because I don't scare that easily. But they went behind the yard, and there was a guy, and he was drunk, and who knows, he could have been sitting there waiting for us to come back, or at least the police officers, because they kept me behind them. But when you go into situations like that, and you think while we're sleeping, they're out there holding the fort and keeping us safe and alive, they're to be really recognized all the time. So I want to thank your officers, everyone, for the great job that they do to keep us safe.
Thank you. We appreciate the support.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Glenn.
One other thing, if I could, in our Public Works Department on April 31st, our staff completed the township's first large-scale in-house curb repair project, and our crew replaced over 1,000 linear feet of concrete curb on Acreview and Chester Drive. And I see here the response from our residents has been very positive. By doing this in-house rather than contracting it out, we estimate that, Mike, we saved about $10,000 for the township. Does that sound about right?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
The feedback, as you alluded to, the feedback from residents was very positive. It was a nice opportunity to inform them and educate the residents in that area, all the work that we're doing and the infrastructure improvements that we're performing on a daily basis.
One of the tough things, Mike, you correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the tough things is when we go into an area and we're resurfacing the street and we have quite a few sections of good curb, we have sections of bad curb, and we can't afford the expense of replacing it all. It's sometimes costly to get contractors to just come in and do piecework.
That's correct, yeah. What we're actually seeing that the cost of doing that piece work is increasing substantially. What was maybe $30 to $35 a linear foot 2 or 3 years ago is now costing $50 to $72 a linear foot. Significant increase. Contractors, when they go in there, they just want to tear it all out and they want to replace with new. Well, in many cases, like up there on Acreview and Cheshire, it's not the best approach to have when we're going in there and just trying to repair the areas that are deteriorated and need to be replaced.
We appreciate you having the initiative to come up with this, plan, and it's a way to save money and get the job done for our residents. Did I say the wrong date?
Well, it's in there.
Huh?
I think April just says 30.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering
I said
when April 31st
April
was.
31st, and there's only 30 days in April, so I'll read whatever they put in front of me. No, but seriously though, Mike, we appreciate the, looking at things, trying to do things outside the box, and it's a way to save money and at the same time get the job done for our community.
Well, simply what we're trying to do, we're just trying to provide as much maintenance as you can. It's like your own home. If you apply a good coat of paint on it every couple of years, you're extending the life of that wood siding or whatever you have. You just provide good maintenance, do what needs to be done, and and so far, things are working out very well.
Just, Mike, I was just going to add, and for the board, we had a bid opening today on a number of projects that we combined into sort of one big bid packet. I think the biggest one was the Millbrook subdivision, and we saw exactly might have dodged a little bit of a bullet today on that bid opening, but we're starting to see exactly what Mike's talking about with the curb replacement, or the piecemeal that the costs are going.
Because they'd rather not do it.
They'd rather not do it. Fortunately or unfortunately, one of the big problems I think we're going to face is it's just there's labor shortages right now in the construction industry, and all of the construction firms that perform this kind of work are busy. There's tons of work out there right now, and so the unfortunate aspect of that is we're starting to see some prices start creeping back up because they're not hungry for the work, and so a lot of stuff going on, but especially in that curb area. I know, Mike, you were very concerned about that today, and I think we luckily had one bidder, what appears to be the low bidder was in the $40 range.
He actually, $40 labor, the total cost, it actually came in at $50 per linear foot. So, it's an increase. It's a significant increase, but fortunately, the project as a whole came in under the engineer's estimate by $1,800. So we're in good shape. As you said, we kind of dodged a bullet, but
Yep.
take it and go.
Right, and I guess we should point out, Mike, we don't have the labor, the manpower to go replace all this curb throughout the township with everything, especially with all the road projects we have going this year, but we're trying to do it where we can.
You're exactly correct. Yeah, the 1,000 feet that we did pretty much stretched our staffing resources to the max. And we're doing as much as you can, because once they finished up the curb, now they're going in and putting attention towards the pavement repairs that need to be done in advance of these pavement preservation projects. Again, we're just doing as much as we possibly can in-house.
And I was expecting to see a group of individuals I met with this week from Lexington Heights, and they're not here. But they also spoke highly, and so grateful that, that the Meredith and all of that whole area is under construction, is going to be repaired. It's been a long time, and even though the process took us a while to get to where we are today, they are really, they compliment the crew that's out there. And one day when I didn't go there because it was raining so hard, but they were out there, some of the crew were out there working, and I just want to commend you for keeping a good eye on that project as well.
No problem.
Okay, if there's nothing else from the board, now is the time for citizen participation. If you could come up to the podium and state your name and address if you'd like to speak. If there's anyone that would like to speak tonight.
Hi, Mike Snyder, 800 Compton Road. And two questions, kind of different topics. But on the website, I was trying to do some research on the results of the Joint Economic Development Zone tax, the revenue. And I couldn't find a reference that specifically was a line item for the JED's revenue. Is that ever broken out?
It is.
I guess
If you go onto the OpenGov
OpenGov
site
right?
and just look at the revenues, there's a specific category in that.
Okay.
JEDZ.
I want to say,
Well, I noticed there were several charts, revenues received charts.
Yeah.
So it's in there somewhere.
yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but yeah, it should be in that. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to give me a call. I can walk you through it.
Thanks. And somebody just mentioned road projects, and that Meredith project, wow. It's go along there weekly or a couple times a week, and it's nice to see.
Phenomenal.
Really going.
Needed it.
But I had another question on another stretch of road in the township. Any plans for resurfacing from Sarbrook north to Green Hills on Winton Road?
Good question.
Actually,
That is really a rough stretch.
You're right, and I was at a meeting, a week or so ago with Ted Hubbard, and he announced that the county has come up with a plan to try and resurface, I believe it is from it starts at Sarbrook and
You always
goes
have that
north.
project that's going up to Sarbrook, widening.
Right.
Yeah.
And all that.
And that they've decided to put off until, I think, next year. But Mike, probably you could go into the details on that.
I spoke with the county as recently as this afternoon. The section of Winton Road that you're referring to, they're hoping to put that out to bid late June, early July.
It's a project.
It is a project on the books. Completion date is a little bit vague right now because, as Mr. Hennekamp and the board alluded to, contractors are extremely busy. I know that the engineer's office is going to try to get it done this year, but at this time, they're not making
Well,
any
just knowing it's
guarantees.
out for bid, I mean, that's an imminent
Yes.
thing as opposed to over the horizon.
They originally tried to do it this year, and they couldn't get the funding, so they pushed it to next year. Then some funding moved around, so they're actually trying to move it up if they can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say on that particular issue too, Mike, we're partnering with the Hamilton County Engineers Office for economy of scale that we're going to, so that's a big project, redoing Winton Road, and we have some streets up in the south of Lake area that we're partnering with them to have the contractor do those for us as well, try and get lower, per unit costs. And also, it's kind of complicated, but there's a process. If we make it our first, well, this is actually different funds, though. But it's a way we're trying to partner with the county to get things done cheaper.
I think it's worth noting, just because we mentioned it twice, the Meredith project is a county project as well.
That's
That is not a township, Springfield Township project. We're not managing it, we're not watching it. That's a county engineer's office project.
Right.
I'm Anna Fields from Pleasant Run Farms. I live on Fallbrook Lane, and I'm just here to say thank you to Mike and the Township for securing the grant to resurface our streets there. They have finished, I think, almost all the curbing. People have been really excited, even though we had to park on different sides of the street. Nobody complained about the inconvenience. The workmen have been very courteous and considerate. On one occasion, I had to wait because they had 2 trucks blocking the road, and I was waiting, and when they finished, one of the gentlemen came to my car and said, "Thank you for being so patient." I really appreciate the work that they're doing, and everyone I've spoken to is pleased also. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks, Ann.
Good evening.
My name is Carmen Henderson Chavis, 152 Dorchester Square, and it's in Westerville, Ohio. So I'm here today because I represent a statewide construction union. And I actually have some folders here. Maybe I hand them to the administrator.
That'd be great. Sure.
So basically, I'm here just to give you an overview of our statewide construction union. We have over 20,000 members in Ohio, and many of them live here in Springfield Township, live in Springfield Township, and they work in that area too. A lot of those contractors, a lot of the contractors that are awarded work in your area, you may be familiar with, like Bear Construction, John R. Jorgensen, Ford Development. They're part of the contractors with the OCA and part of the partnership that we have. And we actually supply the workforce to them through the laborers of Ohio. And so the laborers local union that's in this area is on the back of the folder. You'll see the breakdown of the unions, and it's Local 265 in the Cincinnati area. And so basically, my role is I'm like a PR person for the union. My business card is inside the folder. And so I go around to Township trustee meetings, city council meetings, county commissioner meetings, along the 75 corridor. Mainly I cover from the Cincinnati area to the Lima area. And basically I talk about that we're interested in work in your area, and that when our contractors are awarded a project through the competitive bid process, we're happy to tell you that those are the benefits that they have. And so we have a state-of-the-art training center in Howard, Ohio. We have a wonderful safety and training program. We have a pension program. It's a drug-free workforce. So we want you to rest assured that when
No, we appreciate the work they all do.
Yes.
I do appreciate your time, and again, my business partners on the inside there, we do have a wonderful apprenticeship program as well. So, that helps train the workers for the future. And many of the workers, so the ones that live here in your area, that work in the area, they're giving back to the community with tax base and everything, just as your employees that does the work.
Carmen, I do have one question. The numbers here on the last page, is that the number of union members in each area?
No, that's the local union number.
Oh, the local union number. Okay, gotcha. Okay,
I believe in the Cincinnati area for local 265, they have over 1,400 members.
okay. Yeah, I thought it didn't seem to correlate. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Thanks for your question.
So Local 212 is not involved?
Local 212 is part of the electricians union. So, but this is the laborers, and so the laborers actually do a lot of the work like pouring concrete.
Okay.
And, putting pipe together, sewer pipe, stormwater pipe. They work in power plants, they actually do the road work, the curbs, and work with the blacktop and things of that nature.
Okay.
And so when all the crafts work together, they're part of the Ohio building part of the building trades.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else would like to address the board tonight? Okay, if there's no further business before the board, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye. Meeting's adjourned.
Adjourned.
Thank you all for coming.